Here in this video, we will be doing the question solving part of chapter 2, collection of data, NCERT. Now we will be doing some of the short questions which may come as MCQs or as definition or as 1 marks questions in the exams. So the first questions may be what is a data, second question is what are variables, then what is survey, then what is questionnaire, then what is sampling errors, then what is non-sampling errors, then what is pilot survey, next is what are common methods of data collections, and the last one is what is census. Now we will be answering all the short questions one by one. So the first question was what is data? So data refers to the collections of observations, facts or quantities collected for statistical analysis. It is the recorded observation of a variable. Now examples of data can be students' roll number in a class, marks of students in a class. So students' roll number can be 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, anything. These are the data, and marks of a student in a class can be 89, 56, 66, 99, 77. The next answer is about variable. So variable is what? In statistics, variable relates to the attribute that can take different values from the observations. What are examples of variable? It can be gender, which can be male, female, weather, cold, hot or rainy, income of people, which can be high, low, medium, age of students, which can be 20, 12, 15, 18. So these are all the variables. Now we come to survey. What is survey? Survey is the method of data collection by which the groups targeted are asked questions and there is gathering of information. So what are the methods of survey? The methods of survey can be, it can be online, it can be face-to-face interview or online form fill-up method. What are the examples of survey? Now if we ask rural people about their problems, or asking students about their favorite subject, or asking residences in a colony about their difficulty. So these are a kind of survey and these are the examples. So next one is what? Questionnaire. So what is a questionnaire? Questionnaire is the list of questions set in a paper or form for people to answer in order to collect data in the survey. So this is the meaning of questionnaire. So what are the examples of questionnaire? They can be a locality survey of problems faced, a school survey about the teaching methods, student survey about their likeness in mathematics. Now we come to the next answer, which is sampling errors and non-sampling errors. So what are sampling errors? Sampling errors takes place when there is difference between the sample outcome and the actual outcome. So when there is a difference between the outcome obtained from the sample and the actual outcome, then what happens? We get the sampling errors, and this is for what? For the study of small groups or sample part of the population. What are non-sampling errors? Non-sampling errors are the human errors which is caused by the collection of data, analysis during when there is collection of data, when is an analysis of data, when there is processing of the data. So this is caused mostly by the human errors. The non-sampling errors are caused due to the mistakes in the collection of data. So these are the differences between sampling and non-sampling errors. Now examples of sampling errors: the average performance of 100 students done through sample survey may differ with the actual average result. So the difference between the outcome of the survey and the actual result is the sampling error. And what is the example of non-sampling error? They can be wrong responses provided by the respondents, recordings of data gathered has errors, data entry has errors. So these are all the non-sampling errors because they are because of the human creating that errors by mistake. Now we come to the next answer, which is pilot survey. By pilot survey, what do we mean? We mean the small preliminary survey done before the main survey to check whether the questionnaire are clear or problem in data collection and the estimated cost and time. So pilot survey is actually what? The first survey which is done, or the preliminary survey which is done before the main survey. So it is just a checkpoint. So once check is done before the main survey is conducted. And next answer is what? What is the common methods of data collection? So the common methods of data collections are what? Direct personal interactions, indirect oral interviews, information through correspondence, mail questionnaire, and scheduled method. Next answer is what? what is a census? So what is a census? Census is the method of data collection in statistics in which the information is collected from each individual. This is very important. From each individual it is collected of the total population. So this is what a census means, and here it is like differ from the sample. So census is from each individual, the data are collected of the total population. There is no sampling error and there is high accuracy of the data because every individual data is collected from the total population. Now we will come to the question solving part from chapter 2, collection data. So the first question in the NCERT book of statistics is what? Frame at least 4 appropriate multiple choice options for the following questions. So what are the questions? Which of the following is more important when you buy a dress? How often do you use computers? Which of the newspapers do you read regularly? Rise in the price of petrol is justified? What is the monthly income of your family? The first answer is which of the following is more important when you buy a dress. So what are the options it can be? When we buy a dress, we see the price of the dress, we see the quality of the dress, we see the design of the dress or the style of the dress, we see the color of the dress, we see the brand, we see the fabrics. So these are some of the options which we mostly see when we buy a dress. The next question is what? How often do you use computers? The options for this can be, it can be daily, once one uses the computer, 3 times in a week he or she can use, sometimes the person can use, or one person can use never. So these are the options which can occur. The third question is which of the newspaper do you read regularly? So we will have to name the newspapers which like one person reads regularly. What are the options it can be? It can be the Hindu, the Economic Times, the Telegraph, or one person may not read the newspaper. So these are the options one can feed. Next one is what? Rise of the price of petrol is justified. Is it? So options can be what? It can be strongly, one can strongly agree that the rise of the price of the petrol is justified, strongly disagree to that rise of the price of petrol is justified or not. And what next one is what? Agree. That means he can agree or disagree, or he can be neutral to this option. So here are the 5 options for rise of the price of petrol is justified or not. Now the last question for question number 1 is what is the monthly income of your family? So the options can be what? It can be below $1,000, next between $1,000 and $3,000, next one between $3,000 and $6,000, next one is what? $6,000 to $10,000, and last one is what? Above $10,000. So these can be the options for the monthly income of a family. The next question is frame 5 two-way questions with yes or no. So these are the 5 questions we can use. So what is it? Do you eat non-veg daily? So here the options can be yes or no. The next one is what? Do you sleep before 10 p.m.? So here again the options can be yes or no. The third one is what? Do you exercise daily? Again options can be yes or no. The fourth one is what? Do you read newspaper daily? Then again the option can be yes or no. Now last one is what? Do you water plants daily? So here also the option can be yes or no. The third question for chapter 2 collection of data is state whether the following statements are true or false. So what is the first question? There are many sources of data. So here we know that the option will be true because yes, there are many sources of data. And what are the sources it can be? It can be surveying, interviewing, through censuses, through reports, through records, and many others. Like these are the different kinds of sources from where data can be collected. So there are many sources of data. The next one is what? Telephonic methods of data collection is the most suitable method when population is literate and spread over a large area. So this will be what? False, because in case of large area and the population is literate, we can use the mailed questionnaire method. This will be the best option, mailed questionnaire method, which will be more suitable for this type of data collection. Next one is what? The data collection by the investigator is called secondary data. This will be false because data collected by the investigator is called primary data and not secondary data. The next one is what? There is certain bias involved in the non-random selection of samples. So this is what this will be true. Yes, non-random sampling may cause biases as every member of the population is not selected. The last one is what? Non-sampling errors can be minimized by taking large samples. Again, here it will be false because increase of sample size will not minimize the errors in non-sampling method but will only reduce errors in case of sampling methods, because non-sampling methods are done by what? By the human errors, and sampling methods are done because of the data collection method.